an old guy, and I have sort of christened him with a Bengali name called Boltu.
He looks very gentle and then he's not aggravated.
He can just pop out from anywhere and everywhere.
Boltu was here and I did not know it was early morning, and just opened this door and immediately it was eating those lilies, and my first reaction was, Boltu, stop eating my lilies, just don't do that.
He's not scared at all. So we are also not very scared of Boltu, but that is itself is very, tricky.
Boltu's very old. Boltu's strong. He's huge, and Boltu has skin hanging from his neck, and he has that majestic look.
It is risky because you've got dogs, you've got children. One day we were coming back from office, not even in that night, it was during the day, but we suddenly saw this bison walking down the main road, this huge Boltu guy. So we had to rush back into our office and then wait for him to go and then come. So it's a bit like traffic. We have to kind of watch out whether it's there or not. You cannot walk aimlessly through these roads because it may just come in any time. Yeah, there you are lucky. You're lucky. You're extremely lucky. There they are.
It was 2008 that the Gaur first walked into the Keystone campus. Now, it is a regular visitor. Keystone Foundation works with the indigenous communities of the Nilgiris. While human-animal encounters in tribal hamlets happen on a daily basis, they never imagined that one day it would reach their doorstep.
Because we used to earlier say to our Adivasi villages, you have so many animals around, and sometimes they used to be late for office. And this was to be the excuse, oh, Yane Vandache, this Gaur was on the way and I could not come. And Chandran, I remember once he used to tell that, one day you wait and see, Gaur will be in your house and then you will not be able to come out of the office. And it's true enough, it happens because on the main road sometimes it's walking.
3 years ago, Vanya Aur, a Britisher who lives in the Nilgiris from a very, very long time, she is quite an occult person, and she kept on telling me that there's a lot of positive energy and force in this entire campus. She said, this is the place. So I said, what is place? What is this place? She said, this is where this God lives, and this God is telling me he's very happy that all of you have come. Since that day, I have seen bisons coming here. Hey, look at this, come quick. The whole population, देखो, छोटे बच्चे, ये वो. Look at the small trees.
So many. Wow, big herd,
Oh, Grace.
This one is a big male, no?
This guy.
No, not.
He jumped on here and come, no? Why did he come in?
No, they went.
See.
Oh, excellent, yeah. This is like a bonus.
The campus is framed by forest, tea gardens, and a road. All make it easy access for herds of Gaur. Keystone Campus is in the town of Kotagiri, located within the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, the first to be declared a biosphere reserve in India in 1986.
remember since it was so far back, when we were coming up from the office, they said, there's bison. Everybody uses the word bison. So bisons all over the tea gardens. So we saw them in the tea, and then I remember just coming up the road and came home, and then it was I went back here to check because I switch on the water pump from this side. So in the evening I came by just to switch on, and it's a very narrow path, no? So it was the most fascinating encounter actually, because having to come so close to this animal, I think we were both startled for a minute. It's quite a feeling to see, this huge animal at such a close distance.
Gaur is the largest bovine in India. Males average a height of 6 feet, while the females are about 5 feet. They weigh between 700 to 1500 kilograms, with horns spanning up to 2.5 feet. The gaur is on the IUCN Red List of threatened species. They are declared endangered under the Indian Wildlife Protection Act. And India has the largest numbers of the gaur. Estimated at about 23,500, 3 separate populations occur in Northeast India, Central India, and the Western Ghats.
First few days when it used to come, we were really surprised and we used to take pictures and all. Now we've gotten used to it, so it's like a cow for us.
To track animal movements over the next few months, we put camera traps around the campus. The rising visibility of gaur may have to do with decline in predator population, fragmentation of gaur habitat, or both. Ecologists are still puzzling over the reasons. Here, in Kotagiri, everybody has a story to tell.
நேரம் ஆப்போசிட்டாக மோதக்கூடாது. கொஞ்சம் அப்போ பக்கத்தில் தான் நின்னோம். அது பேசினா அது வர்ற வழியில் நம்ம டிஸ்டர்ப் பண்ணக்கூடாது. அது பேசினா நம்ம அதை விட்டுருணும்.
அது பக்கத்தில் போய் பிடிக்கலாம். அப்படியா? இங்கேயே போய் பிடிக்கலாம்.
ஓடி போகாது?
அதெல்லாம் ஓடி போகாது.
Every 10 days it's coming near the house. Even in the night it's coming, it's eating the hibiscus plants.
பயங்கரமாக இருந்துச்சு. ஐயோ அவ்வளோ இருக்கு. இத்தனோண்டுலேருந்து அப்படியே பெருசு வரைக்கும் அது அந்த காலுக்கு அதுக்கும் அப்படி இருக்குது. நம்ம அப்படி இப்படி பண்ணிட்டு போல இல்லை.
சாயந்தரம் மத்தியானம் எந்த நேரம் வேணும்னு இருக்குங்க. நாங்கள் இப்போ வீட்டில் எல்லாம் இருக்க முடியாமல் அப்படி வீட்டுக்கு முன்னாலெல்லாம் வந்து படுத்துக்குங்க.
ನೀರು ಈ ಸದ್ದು ನೀರು ಕೊಪ್ಪು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸದ್ದು ನೀರು
இல்லைனா தான் அது நம்மளை
எங்கள் யாராவது முட்டிக்கிட்டே அந்த மாதிரி எதாவது பண்ணியிருக்கு?
எங்கள் ஏரியாவில் இது வரைக்கும் இந்த மாதிரி நடந்ததில்லை. மேல் பக்கமெல்லாம் நடந்திருக்கு. ஆனால் எங்கள் ஏரியா
இல்லை, நம்ம எதுவும் கல்லை கீழே தூக்கி போட்டால் தான் ஏற்றிக்கிட்டு வரும். இல்லைன்னா ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ கரடி தொந்தரவு ஜாஸ்தி, எறும்பு தொந்தரவு ஜாஸ்தி. இன்னும் துரத்து வரல எதுவுமே. ஆனால் கண்ணால் பார்ப்போம், பயந்துக்குவோம். அதோட வீட்டில் இருந்துக்குவோம்.
Nowadays, people have got both anxious about animals because there is a curiosity of just going and seeing it. At the same time, there is a fear without understanding the entire background of those animals and the behavior. Bison is kind of unpredictable. When they will charge, when they will become standstill, nobody knows.
Peter.
Mani is from Dimbatti village within Kotagiri town, where Gaur was first sighted in 2007. Most of the people here have kitchen gardens and also grow beans in the fields nearby. We were told that the herds enter the village at night. We went back to Dimbatti around 7 p.m. We waited past midnight. In the deep stillness of the night, we sensed some movement. It was an eerie feeling to walk around in the dark, knowing there were Gaur all around us.
There might be more big.
It won't come. It comes down there. So those people are also being there.
One Gaur seemed quite at ease with the passing vehicle. At 3 a.m., we were back near the Keystone campus and saw another herd moving up the hill. The night watchman Hari was on alert. By morning, the Gaur herd started jumping the fence into the Keystone grounds.
Is it the same herd?
Yeah, it looks like it is the same.
See, one guy is watching. Actually, they are not so fond of you. Just accept that.
Here.
I thought that to be a big guy.
Very young guy.
This is a young.
Not to come this side. This guy is chasing, you know. They were all here.
Oh, they were all
They were all here. He's charging, eh?
Matthew, come this side.
Come, Tara. Tara.
It's charging, eh? Matthew, come this side.
Just by knowing that there is conflict, we are not much wiser about what to do to reduce it. We really need to understand the circumstances under which this conflict is happening. It might be because animals are merely moving through areas which they were always used to moving through, which have been converted to other kinds of land uses, or they were moving through, they may have an animal like a gaur or elephant may have moved through coffee without causing damage, but if coffee became some other kind of a crop, they may actually have a serious consequence. So it might be more of these kind of changes, or it could also be, for instance, that there is something pushing these animals out of the habitats, their natural habitats. And while we are often cognizant of the fact that animals stray out of landscapes, out of natural habitats into human landscapes and so on, we don't see the converse of it, which is also very critical, which is that people have a huge footprint on the forest.
Gaur, they kind of say that it doesn't trouble you unless you go and trouble it. So, but then like elephants have already undergone a system in which people have been retaliating, and also they also kind of, I think, they see humans as a threat. And I think the same thing is yet to happen to the gaur, in which people have started actually retaliating and then actually changing the mindset of the gaur itself in looking at a person as something which is as a threat to it.
Valparai is a tea plantation town just a few hours away from Kotagiri. Human-animal conflicts are rampant in the area.
So when we looked at human deaths due to elephants, we noticed that in the last 17 years, 36 people have died, out of which 34 people didn't know that there were elephants. So one of the things that what we thought was that if there are simple solutions in place, so that people themselves can actually take part in that. So that's where we are trying to, work towards.
Three patrolling teams head out to track elephants every morning. And as soon as they are spotted, information is sent to base.
Okay, so now we've received a call from Stanmore saying the elephants are behind the church, so I'll be sending out the messages now.
கீழ யானை நிக்குது கீழ் சைடு போகாம மேல வந்துருங்க சீக்கிரமா.
The local Valparai channel also carries news about elephant locations every evening from 8 p.m. onwards. Nature Conservation Foundation also works to slow down traffic along roads where the critically endangered lion-tailed macaque are present. Endemic to the Western Ghat, only about 3,000 remain in the wild. NCF, in collaboration with tea companies, has installed a warning light system to make people aware about the presence of elephants within an area of 2 kilometers at night. Valparai is one example of solutions being attempted to the human-animal conflict. Perhaps it is possible to think of such solutions elsewhere as well, in places where people are finding themselves in close proximity to animals.
When there is an interaction between people and animals, it's very much necessary to look at the coexistence. Because in many places, looking at the elephants, for example, 80% of the elephant population is outside protected areas. And they are very close to human habitations or human areas, human use areas. So if that is the case, that coexistence is the only way to look at.
Back at Keystone, the camera traps revealed a treasure of images. Wild boar, deer, gaur, peacocks, cats, porcupine, and to our surprise, even a leopard had been captured on camera.
There is a slight fear. I think there's a slight fear because after all it's a wild animal. We have to be also careful.
Sometimes back it was monkeys, nowadays bisons. Tomorrow it may be elephants also.
Vizu, let them eat in peace.
I really don't lose anything by this visitor. But I guess many people may not have the same sentiments as I do.
Nattu, have you seen Boltu ever?
Show me.
You got it? Oh, very good. Very good.
Oh my god. Titi. That one is there. I think that he is eating that. Look at his tongue. Look, everybody is tongue. Today's photo day.
then you are lucky.
It's quite a feeling to see huge animal at such a close distance.
There is a slight fear. I think there is a slight fear because after all it's a wild animal.
Charging,